In 2012, she became head of the academic unit for ICT at Beit Burrell College, Israel. In this position, she led the project of adapting colleges to the 21st century, integrating pedagogy with technologies. This led to managing the college portion of the Erasmus project into it. She also helped in the development of the content of TeachX, project by Erasmus+. Today, you can still find Dr. Osnat Dagan as a lecturer in Master's Education Program for Integrative Education STEM at Beit Burrell College. Her main academic interests include design and technology education from preschool to secondary levels, STEM technologies, the development of students' critical thinking and problem-solving skills using constructivist and project-based learning methods, and the integration of innovative pedagogies with ICT such as AI. Thank you for joining us today. So, to get started, we have a list of questions for you, of course. I'm going to start with the first question that we spoke about. So, going ahead now, students may have problems when it comes to their own personal bias and hypothesis. In your expert opinion, how would you suggest that a technology-based educator deal with fixation issues while incorporating PBL?
Okay, I think that it's connect to teacher role. The main role of educator, teacher, or lecturer is from one hand to give his student the freedom to plan their path, timetable, or the assessment, but from other hand to be able to track, to follow the student points when they need help or when they have this fixation, as you said. The teacher, as a guide, need to help students to overcome these fixations by thinking in all directions and feeling empathy. I think that this is the key point for helping them to go from fixation to open their minds.
Well, thank you. So I have to say, that's very insightful. I have to agree with the fact that I feel like being especially empathetic with your students is definitely an integral part of teaching, and I'm sure it can to cater to not just project-based learning, but many of the activities we'll certainly be taking part in. Thank you.
You're right, but I think that in problem-based learning, when you teach the student to be able to maintain the project, to think how he will organize it, how he will make the timetable of it, how he will do everything. He need to be open-minded, and we need to be there. We, the educators, need to be there and all the time feel if they have any difficulties and help them to overcome it and go on.
Definitely. So almost being a figure for them to look up to, and I guess stemming off of what you're saying is be someone that they can look to as a guide and represent the person that they want them, or you want them to be.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, well, in that case then, we'll move on to our second question there. What would you say are the most common signs that a group is experiencing conflict? And what steps can I, as an educator, take to positively change the group's trajectory before a total breakdown in communication occurs?
Okay, I think that this is a very good question, because when we teach students in PBL, we want them to be collaborative. And what it means that they will collaborate their ideas and their thoughts with others, and also be patient enough in order to listen to others. And I think that the main aim is to help the student develop their abilities to work in a team, because it's not just this project that they are doing. They need to be collaborative and know how to work in teams. But sometimes we know that the group is not working well, and I want to give you an example from my course. Last year, in the course of the PBL, With the teacher, we teach them 3 faculty members together. Each one of us is from other STEM discipline. So we decided to develop the groups according to that they will work in groups that include students from different STEM disciplines. So we split the groups, and they need to find a problem. We don't give them the problem. They need to find a problem. And after a long period, like 3 weeks, they didn't find a problem. And because they have differences in their cultural background, they couldn't find a problem that all of them can share. So we let them split into 2 groups, and they work in 2 groups, and each one has another problem. And it was very innovative problems. And one of the group developed a bracelet that gives them identification when they need to take pills, when they have dancing party and they cannot listen to watch or their phones. And the other group develop a how we call it, a phone connector to a walking stick for elder people or for disabled people that need to walk with sticks. So it was 2 very, very innovative projects and very good projects along the way. After we let them split into 2 groups. So sometimes as educators, we need to take these decisions as well.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating, actually. I'm pretty intrigued with some of the problems that they tackled there. And I also recognize that the ability to recognize that your team isn't working and then making a decision to be like, okay, guys, this isn't working. Let's figure this out in a different way. And splitting off into 2 teams, it takes a lot of courage, I think. So it's interesting to see how you deal with that. Thank you so much. So we'll move on then, actually, to a question that I'm really interested in. So is there a concern that AI tools will be used by students as a replacement for the expert in project-based learning, rather than as an additional support? How do we maintain the integrity of the project?
I think that this problem is wider than just problem-based learning. It's in all academic issues. And I think that in issues that are dealing only with knowledge is even more a bigger issue, because we don't assess the students' knowledge. We assess how they use the knowledge in order to develop a solution to a problem. And we assess the skills, not just the knowledge that they gain through doing the problem-based learning. So the ability to use AI is in certain things. Actually, I'm telling the student, go to the AI, behave with him like he is another, I'm saying him, it must be it, but it's him, that behave with him like he is another person in your group, in your team, and ask him any questions that you need to know, but you need to be critical thinker and to critique his answers. And I want to give you an example from my course. One of the groups find a solution for jellyfish. There are a lot of them in certain time in our Mediterranean Sea, and people cannot swim when they have lots of jellyfish because of the smell, the feeling in the water, and they want to find a solution for that. and they asked the AI what to do. And the AI said, spread certain acid in the Mediterranean Sea, and then the jellyfish will be dead, and then you'll not have this problem. But you know that this solution cannot be good from many aspects. So they need to be a criticized person in order to find out if what they get from the AI is right or wrong or appropriate to their problem, but use it. And they said to them, please just say when you use it and how you use it. Give me the questions that you ask him and what he answer you, and tell me why you use it or not. So they have to be a critical solver in order to use the AI, and use it as you use all other. If you take some knowledge from any kind of research or something, please write that you use it. And actually, I think that this is academic problem and not just PBL problem. And I think that the college need to take, each college, each academic or even global, we have to decide how we are using the AI, because we will use it and the students will use it. And I think that it's good that they will use it. But how and how will we assess the contribution of the AI to what the student is doing?
Well, thank you for that. I've never considered AI as another group member before, but it's definitely an active way of thinking about it, and I really appreciate the way that you encourage your students to, use the resources available to them, but also be critical. And obviously, that's a large part of academia, is being critical of the content that you're reading and making sure that you're not taking everything for what it is. So thank you for that. So we'll go on to our next question here now. So during this article, the 7 design thinking tools are listed as thinking in all directions, making productive mistakes, deciding on one's direction, sharing ideas, bringing ideas to life, developing empathy, and making use of the process. Despite the variety of backgrounds, would you say there is a common tool that students struggle with applying in the design process?
Actually, I want to tell you how I teach it in order to answer the question, because I'll give the answer and then I'll tell you how because I think that there is no skills that it's too difficult for them, but it's because the way that we teach it to them. Before we go to the problems, the project-based learning course is taught on the second semester of their learning. They study for MED in STEM education for 2 years, 4 semesters, and the PBL course is on their second and third semesters. On the first semester of their learning, they study problem solving. And they study problem solving, they have to choose a problem from a design, from several design briefs, and then they go to the virtual worlds where we design to them a whole environment for learning these skills, 7 rooms, each for each skill that they need, that you said, that empathy, thinking in all direction, and that's all. 7 rooms, and they can move from room to room in the ways that they want to do it. Each group have an area, an environment, a space where they have table and chairs and instruction how they need to do this skill. They have e-portfolios that move from room to room with them. At the end, they have the all e-portfolio. And I'm there. I'm as a teacher there with them. They work in this environment, but I'm there and ask and see how they manage, how they work, how they move from place to place. Each group has its own path of solving the problem as they need. They use any skill as they need it along the way. But they study it, and I'm there to help them when they have difficulties. So there is no one skill that they don't know how to do, because we, the teachers, are there to help them with that. At the end, of the semester, they have the product and the e-portfolio, and we assess it according to assessment criteria that they know previously.
So just to specify then, so you're saying each of these tools, you almost treat it like a module where they go in and they apply their skills and learn how to use this tool. And once they've achieved that learning, they move on to the next step. Is that correct?
Yeah, but they choose the next step.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying to them, now do this step or this step or this step. They choose if they need now to make mistakes, or they now need to empathy, or they now need to go to find out some information. They choose their path of solving the problem. It was very important for, I think that it's right way to solve problem.
And it stems off of what you were saying about being critical in your application of knowledge and whatnot too, being able to recognize what step is necessary and what skill or tool they need to develop to achieve the solution to their problem too. So thank you for that. So we'll move on to our next question there now. In your experience, how much does the authentic context of the project affect student engagement and motivation? Is the scope of the project proportional to student behavior, or do they lose sight of the goal if the problem is too large or unrealistic?
I think that authentic is it's crucial for problem solving and for motivation and for engagement with a project. That's why in the beginning, when I teach them how to solve problem, I give them several design briefs that they can choose the one that is better for them. And if some of them don't find something that they feel that it's authentic to them, they can choose another problem. But I know that it's not easy to find a problem. Even if we look around and we see all the time problems, when you need to find a problem to solve in a PBL project, it's not an easy issue, and they need time to do it. And that's why I give them in the beginning. And through the problem solving, the project-based learning course, we ask them to find their own problem, and we didn't leave them till they do it, and we didn't help them with that in order that it will be authentic and they will love and they will have passion to find a solution for that.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, then the authenticity aspect of it doesn't necessarily mean like a real world problem, but rather that it's authentic to them. They have some sort of connection to the problem and are impassioned, like you said, to solve it.
Yeah, I think that I answer only just part of your question, because I think that we are, as a teacher, educator, guide this process, we need to see that, and it's very important, I think, to see that the problem that the student identify is fit to their abilities and age and ability to find the solution, because we don't want them not to success. We want them to success in the project and to find a solution and to find an innovative solution and to go all over the process and be happy with what they do. So we need to see from the beginning that it's fit to their abilities, and if it's too big, to ask them to find smaller part of that and focus on that, or if it's too small problem, please do something even wider. But is it, as all, it's our responsibility.
Yes, and I can imagine we'll certainly be able to relate to that when we join the education service. So I really appreciate that answer, and the need for there to be guidelines and to recommend when students need to reach a little further or maybe take a few steps back. So that's very insightful. Thank you. So we'll move on now to some of our last few questions there. As an educator, what are some things that I can keep in mind when designing my own problem for project-based learning, ensuring a level of creativity, but also working within defined limitations, which stems off of actually what you were just saying there about the problem. So I appreciate that segue.
Yeah, I think that it's very important to encourage creativity through empathy and thinking in all direction. And thinking in all direction, it's like when you think about other people's point of view, like finding some personas that you can be able to think how they can react to the problem and how they can think about it. And I think that the most important thing that we are, as grown up, we didn't let us do is don't hesitate to make mistakes. We don't want to make mistakes. We don't to succeed all the time, but this is the time when you are taking risk, doing mistakes, learn from it and go to other direction and find out something more creative. I think this is very important, and I think that reflection is very important as well. Reflection, not just at the end, because people talk about reflection and they said, okay, I'll do reflection at the end and then but if you, and it brings me to other questions that you talk about, summative and assessment. I think that reflection you need to do after all step in your process. You have to do, and this is something that in my PhD research, I found that it's the most useful thing to do reflection, every part, to do, I did this and that, what I did right, what I did wrong, what I want to improve, where I'm going next. And after every step to do this reflection, and it will improve the process and also the solution.
Appreciate that. We're especially in our program, we pay a lot of attention to the process, and I can tell you now we've made some mistakes. So I appreciate that insight. Yeah, it is good, and we've definitely learned a lot for it.
As long as you learn from the mistakes and you can change what you did, but sometimes mistakes bring you to think in other direction and to find much more innovative thing or much more creative issues, and just the mistake bring you to another path of working, and it's good.
Well, thank you for that. We're going to actually move on to our next question there now. I believe after that, we're going to run into some audience questions, if that's all right with you.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. So when comparing summative and formative assessment, it is understood that formative assessment garners better results in the application of project-based learning. With that said, in your professional opinion, does this hold true for other learning styles, such as task-based learning and problem-based learning? If so, where is the value in summative assessment?
I think that both summative and formative assessment are both important, very important for other point of view. Formative assessment is good in order to improve your process, along the process. And actually, I had a dream, I didn't fulfill it till now, that I will prepare an AI bot that will help me with the assessment, with the formative assessment, that will look at what the students are doing and ask them useful questions that they will improve their, not do the reflection for them, but ask them questions that they will reflect on their process and will improve it instead of me. But this is only a dream. I hope that I will fulfill it this year. And the summative assessment, first of all, we need summative assessment for political and policy making. We need to know he passed the course or didn't pass the course. He did it good or bad. But also I think that we as a designers, as a problem solving people, want to know if we are good in what we did or if we are not good. So we need the summative assessment also for us to know where I'm ranked along in this process. So I think that both is very important, are very important.
I really appreciate the idea of it being for us. You know, it's an aspect of assessment that is required for us to not only understand you know, how we're doing in a course or a field, but also sort of to promote our personal growth and to see I achieved something. So that I can only agree with that at the very least. So I appreciate that. So now we're going to move on now to an audience question. We only have time there for one, so we'll be sure to ask you one here now. So the creation of the physical artifact is a core feature of PBL. For the educator, evaluator, how much value should the artifact be given in regards to evaluation in comparison to the process? And if you need me to repeat it, I'll happily
Yes,
do
please.
so. Of course.
Yes, please.
The creation of the physical artifact is a core feature of PBL. For the educator, how much value should the artifact be given in regards to evaluation in comparison to the process? So this
Do you mean how percentage you give to this and that?
So I think it's actually stemming off of our previous question there, where we talked about summative versus formative, and basically
okay.
We're looking at the value of the actual process versus the artifact itself.
Actually, in PBL, we ask the student to say how much percentage they will give. We ask our student to say how they will assess the project and the e-portfolio and the whole process, what they will be the criteria, and how much percentage they will give to each one.
Okay.
So for the product, most of them say that it's something like 40%. 60% is all around the process, the portfolio, the innovation, and other aspects. But this is the student said. I think more like that it's like 40% because it's important.
No, definitely. I think it's good to, take note of the process and how important it is, as well as the artifact itself. And I guess at the end of the day, the main objective is to have both of it and, be able to show your work, but also have something to talk about, right? So I definitely appreciate that insight for that answer, and thank you so much for that. If I'm correct now, I believe we're actually at the end of our interview. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I really appreciate you coming here today, and you've been so informative and so enjoyable to work with. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.